Hello, I'm Simon. Welcome back to the workshop. Now, I was recently lucky enough to be given all of these veneers from a friend of mine who no longer had any use for them. They vary in terms of quality, in terms of flatness. This is a particularly flat piece and it's quite a dark material. This is a slightly wavy piece and it's a much lighter material. And then there are slightly thicker pieces that are more this orangey type material. Now at the moment these have just been sitting on the floor of my workshop and they can't stay there. I need to find somewhere for them to stay, and I really need to find a way of storing them so that they don't warp any further, and ideally the amount of warping they've got in them reduces, so ideally pressing them down for storage so that when I come to use them they're nice and flat. So today I'm going to be making a storage solution for all these veneers that will hold them nice and flat. Let's get tinkering. So my first job in terms of assessing the size of the problem is going to be to sort these pieces out into different widths and different sizes, just so I get an idea of what I've got, and that might help me think of what the right solution is in terms of storing them. So I'm thinking I can use these offcuts of a kitchen cabinet door as flat boards that I can use these nuts and bolts, drill 6 holes, 1 there, 2 there, 2 there and 1 there, and then bolt these down to put it under pressure while it's being stored, and that will then flatten these boards. All these boards are roughly the same width. They're about, I don't know, about 8 inches maybe. Yeah, about 8 inches thick, 8 inches wide, by a couple of feet long, just under. And then that will clamp these and hold them flat while they're in storage until I decide what to do with them. And if I do that, then I can do something similar for these boards, which are narrower. They're only about 5 inches, maybe 4 inches, yeah, 5 inches in width. I could do something else with those, with one of these boards, and then all the boards that are behind me, all the odds and sods, I might be able to do something similar with those. So I think I'm going to try out this one, get it clamped down. Question for you that you might know the answer for, and if you do, can you put it in the comments, is should I dampen all of the veneers and then clamp them so that they dry out really slowly, or is that just going to lead to mold and stuff? Or should I just clamp them flat, dry? I'm not sure what the right answer is, but perhaps if you've used veneers before, or you've straightened or flattened veneers that are slightly warped, then you can tell me. So let me know if you know the answer to that in the comments. So I've taped the two boards together so they stay in line with each other, and I've set a little bit of tape onto the drill bit at a depth which means that it'll go through the top board but not all the way through the second board. That'll then give me my marks for the second board, and then I can drill through the second board. I guess you could do it all in one go, but this is the way I've decided to do it. So this didn't quite work out as I expected. My plan was to drill through the other side until I could just about feel the point, and then I would turn it round and drill from the other side to get a nice clean hole. Now most of the time I missed that and went all the way through and burst out. It didn't actually damage the MDF, but did pull on the laminate material. It's like a plasticky type material that it's lined in. And the one that I did manage to stop in time and then turned round and drilled through, the drill, as soon as it hit the laminated material, it just ripped it anyway, so it left the same damage that I had when I was drilling all the way through. Now with the washers in place and everything, you can't really see it, and it doesn't really matter. It's just a clamp to hold these pieces nice and flat. And the good thing with this approach, I think, is that I can now store this anywhere, and I know that the laminates aren't going to get damaged because they are pretty fragile. And I know now I've got a nice set of veneers here that hopefully will improve over time as they hopefully flatten out. I'm going to use the side of this old kitchen cabinet for the second set of clamps, but it's quite damaged on the other side, so I'm just going to cut the damage off, and I think it'll be just about wide enough to make that second clamp. I then split the board down the middle. Having cut those boards, I've decided that they're not quite wide enough, and this being chipboard, I do think I need quite a lot of space around the bolts that are going to hold the thing together. So I found some old shelves that were chipboard, and I'm going to use those. I think ideally you wouldn't use chipboard, you'd use MDF, something like that, but chipboard's what I've got, so chipboard's what I'm going to use. So I've learnt my lesson from the previous build, and I'm going to pilot these holes all the way through using a very small drill bit, and then I can tackle each hole from each side so that I get a nice neat hole. This being chipboard rather than the MDF of the previous one, it will blow out, and it'll blow out pretty spectacularly if I don't cut them from both sides. Now, something that occurred to me on the first one that I made was that it would have been a lot easier to do up if I'd used threaded inserts on one side. It also means that I can get away with slightly shorter bolts, and I'm running out of those long bolts. So on this one I'm going to use threaded inserts. I'm really happy with how these both turned out. The key thing is that I can store these and not worry about things bumping into them. It's not going to damage the veneers. They're all safely tucked inside this press. And all the time they're inside this press, hopefully they're starting to become flatter and flatter, so that when I get to use them, they'll be nice and flat and like new. If you've enjoyed this video, then I'd love a thumbs up. If you think there are other people that you know that might like this video, then please share it with them. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.